Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
What's good, dude? I'm doing great. Birthday week for your boy. So excited about that. Turning the big 3-5, which is, these numbers start getting crazy and crazy, bro. I don't know about you, but I've gotten to that age where you start thinking about like when we were kids and someone was our age and we were like, bro, y'all lame as fuck. And now I'm like, but I'm not lame. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I definitely feel that way.
Yeah. But yeah, birthday week. So man, looking forward to that. Had a super domestic weekend. Fucking Starbucks, Home Depot, painted my fence for like 2 hours, sweated my ass off. So it was a whole domestic thing, but luckily it was all done so I can enjoy this upcoming weekend and have no fucks at all. So looking forward to it, bro. But how have you been, bro? Nice. How was your weekend? You had a stressful week at work. I was going clubbing at your age. How was all the things?
Yeah, stressful week. Thankfully, the weekend was pretty fun. Our friend Andrew's visiting again, so kind of hosting him, showing him the new spot, and we went out to a club on Saturday night to celebrate the wifey's birthday. So we invited people over. It was nice to show them my new spot. Yeah, host. A lot of them were familiar with where we used to live too, so like the contrast is very extreme to the point where like they swore like we were in some like $10 million mansion because before like the surrounding environment just looks completely different.
Did you guys host on the rooftop or host in the apartment?
A mix of both, but mostly on the rooftop.
Nice.
It was really nice, especially because for some reason the entire weekend pretty much no one was utilizing the rooftop at all. So apparently we must be just like a younger crowd in general, because I think there are a lot of small families in our building, still relatively young, but I don't think they're the type of groups that want to be on the roof at 9 p.m. grilling and playing music with beers. So,
is there a limit as far as like, hey, like when it's midnight, make sure it's cleared or anything like that, or it's just like, hey, be considerate?
So the rooftop closes at 10.
Okay.
Not entirely sure how strict they are about it, because I know the sister unit or sister building across the street, they're like, as the security guard, like as long as you're not loud, like he doesn't really press the issue too much. So once we get to that point, we might test that theory at our building. But yeah, it was dope going to the club. So it was off to a very slow start because we were very strict about us not drinking too much before we're going, because half the time a bottle's left over.
Nice, dude. That's growth. That's amazing, because sometimes it's growth. I feel like when you don't go clubbing a lot, then you're like, fuck it, bro, let's go balls to the wall, and it's actually like, so good for you.
Yeah, no, but it was rough. Like the first 20 minutes we're all kind of standing around waiting for the bottle girls to show up.
Oh yeah, we're fiending.
Yeah, we were fiending, and on top of that they were playing cookie cutter like commercial top 40 shit, not the good kind, like shit you would hear at a wedding, and being really safe with like Taylor Swift mashups and shit. And we're all just standing around like kind of pretending to like the music for a good 20-25 minutes, and then eventually the bottles came out. The mood changed immediately. Like we were all standing on top of the tables dancing and whatnot. So it was a good time. Definitely I think we're at an age where like we really would only ever do that for a special occasion, or for an artist that like we actually want to see there. But yeah, overall it was super solid weekend. I have to travel for the next couple weeks for work.
Starting to LA this week or starting next week?
Yeah, starting this week. So going to LA tomorrow, and then Seattle next week, which I've never been to, so that'll be cool.
Very cool.
Basically,
dude,
paid to see that city, so that's nice.
That's always nice. That's how I felt when I came to see you in San Fran last year. I was like, bro, all day.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like,
as long as it's not my money, cool.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, when you have like, I traveled with coworkers too, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to like hang out like after like the?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I got friends. Yeah, I'm good." You know what I mean? Like, so, but obviously you're gonna be like, do you have friends or family in the Seattle area?
Definitely not in Seattle. LA, obviously, but since it'll be during the week, and they're kind of scattered about. Like I doubt we'll hang out earlier then. And then my brother's birthday same as yours, and he's celebrating on the weekend, so I'll of course see family on the weekend.
Nice, very cool, very cool. Back to the clubbing for a moment. Was there a particular, what was like the song that got like the mood going after the drinks were flowing?
Yeah, good question. I think it was YG. It's a song called I don't know if it's called Bompton, but it was definitely a YG song, and it was very strange because I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift or something super soft was right before it. So it was odd, but it definitely changed the mood. And you could tell like who wanted to hear hip hop versus who wanted to hear the poppy type shit.
Did it stay on a hip hop like train after that for a while, or was it just like kind of like a back and forth thing?
Yeah, it was mostly hip hop throughout the night. I think
Nice.
the DJ was just like kind of warming up people and getting them in the mood. But for the majority of the night, I would say it was hip hop mixed with like EDM,
Nice.
some mashups here and there. So yeah, it was overall a super dope vibe.
Very cool, bro. I'm glad, and I'm glad the wifey had a good time as well, man. So all good things. But
Yep.
let's get into it. Episode 156, episode 155 for all the dogs. Album review is up everywhere, so go please peep that for us. But dude, before we get into any like major content, we can do a quick little follow up. Again, giving ourselves a week and a half to kind of digest for all the dogs the Drake album again. It's confirmed that he is going to do close to 400 to 450K the first week, go #1 album. I think it's also confirmed that First Person Shooter is going to be was going to be the #1 song in the country this week, which will give Drake the most #1 top 100 hit songs, tied with Michael Jackson. So before all that, though, the album itself, like, how are you feeling after a week and a half now post your first listen?
Honestly, I feel pretty much exactly the same. The songs I did like, I liked them just as much, maybe even a little bit more. I think it was very difficult listening to this album like while I'm still fucking cleaning eye boogers out of my face at 8 a.m. or whatever it was on a Friday, like just not in the mood to really listen to anything, to be honest, during that period. But yeah, for me, I just still appreciate the handful of songs I pulled out. And I think a lot of, I will admit, I think the chatter around the album influenced my perspective. But I think now, having sat with it for a week, the fact that people trash it so much, I don't think it means I necessarily think the album has grown on me. I think part of me is just like, okay, maybe it wasn't quite as bad. So it kind of is encouraging me to think more favorably of it. But in reality, I think the same. I don't think, the week has really changed my perspective on it very much.
Got you. So for me, I think it actually, maybe I have appreciated it slightly more. I'm not saying I'm going to go from, I think we said C- last week to like an A+, like that's not happening. But I would say like the songs that I did like before, I think I like even more now, right? Like the undeniable hits. I do think that stretch from, bro, what's the song where allegedly he's dissing Rihanna, Fear of Heights, I think it's called?
Yeah, Fear of Heights, yeah.
Fear of Heights to the Daylight song, where he has Adonis at the end of it, and then First Person Shooter, and then the I Don't Give a Fuck with beat. I think that 4-song track, like Journey, is actually pretty good, right? Like I think like I was simply we're creatures of like, we are like what our environment is. Like you hear everyone bashing it before you even get through track 5, and then the first couple of songs are just like, this is different, bro. I don't know if I want this, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think those 4 songs, I actually enjoy that journey more. Whereas initially I was like, bro, is he really dissing Rihanna? Bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Kind of a thing, right? And then with the Daylight song that I actually enjoy before the Adonis thing, but then I'm like, that song, I was like, bro, is he really sampling fucking Scarface? Like, are you the 400th rapper to fucking like sample that same fucking part of the movie? You know, I'm like, I was like annoyed by that, and I think that blinded me to like, all right, but do you enjoy the fucking song, bro? Like let's like remove like one aspect of it. And then, dude, honestly, I was annoyed by the pitch inflection on first person shooter. But then like that song by itself, it almost feels like you have to do that to reach those levels. So I'm like, damn, bro, I fucking like this even more now. And then, yeah, the I Don't Give a Fuck song, like I think the hook is just enjoyable. I don't know what the fuck Yeet is saying on that song, but the hook is enjoyable and Drake kills it on his verses. So I don't know, there was more things that I was able to remove either my own like just negativity or other people's negativity and just try to really enjoy it at like what it is, right? Like, and I think that's more what I'm feeling a week and a half later. It's like, I don't know what I was expecting, right? I don't know if you feel this way about the album. I think we keep expecting more from him, right? Like, hey, bro, you're 36, 37, 38, about to be 40. Like, I want to be able to relate to your shit more, right? I don't want to be the toxic guy who's still thinking about his ex. I want to be able to talk about like real shit, right? I also don't send people's fucking fingers to their mother in the mail, right? Which he fucking said, like, you know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff in it is just like, bro, this is like tough when like, I never really go to you for this. So I don't know what I was thinking, what expecting from him though when I first heard it, but like I do think my ranking of the album has gone up slightly because I think I just tried to remove like my own negativity from it initially, and then being bombarded by everyone's from. Again, I think it's a solid album. Like, I mean, I think it's still one of his worst albums, his albums. But as far as the album by itself, I would go from like a C minus C to like a B, like a solid B, right? Like not a debate if it's a passing album or not. Just because I feel like there are bars here, you know what I mean? And I just think I was too like, bro, really? That's what you're doing? Come on. Like, I just wanted more kind of a thing.
I'm not mad at it. I think for me, in terms of what I was expecting was, I think just more rap, more bangers that were catchier. He definitely has bangers on there, but I think the sheer amount of songs, it's like, if you're giving me 23 and you're supposed to be the best guy out, or maybe even best ever, then I should have like at least half of these be like hits. So I think that's where the disappointment for me was. I think he definitely had some gems on there. And I like most people, I don't think we're really expecting him to, you know, speak on politics or like being a dad 24/7. Like, we don't need that shit. I think we just feel like, I think what people were trying to say is, if you are going to be stagnant in your life or like be doing the same shit, then the songs have to be better. I think people were really just wanted better songs, because Her Loss wasn't quote unquote mature, but that shit, I love that album. I don't think that album had any period of critique. Really.
Yeah, but I think for that album, you tell me if you feel this way too, but I think people were like, it's almost like after giving people an album they never wanted, and honestly never mind, for him to come back that aggressively with 21 Savage as well, and the Yachty influence, I think everyone was like, fuck it, bro, he's back. Like, we'll take this kind of a thing.
Right. And that's why I think like a lot of people are going to say, oh, that album's, this particular one, For All the Dogs, isn't as bad, because people ran this shit through the ground to the point where it sounded like this thing was the most unlistenable body of work we could have gotten on planet Earth. And then you go back and listen to it and you're like, okay, well, it's not that bad. So I think, and I don't even know if Drake's necessarily like manipulating this. I think it's just kind of the fans are doing it to themselves.
Just human nature, bro. It's just like, you had expectations. They weren't met with your first run through. You give it a couple days, and then you see everyone kind of agreeing with you. So that's you like just like truly like, yeah, I was right. And it's like, oh, we were all kind of right and kind of wrong, kind of a thing. You know, I think it's more of that.
And I think for me, if anything, what kind of made it worse for me or prevented me from really appreciating it was how reactionary and petty like Drake became with this situation. And then he's like, people are making threats, and I get it. Like, as an artist, I don't like hearing people critique my music or talking shit either. But like a lot of people have said, you already won. Like you won the rap game. He's pretty much too big to fail at this point. And it just seemed very odd that he went to this extreme. And I think it giving attention to the critics, like just showcases too much insecurity that doesn't really match like the mafioso, henchman mobster vibe that he's putting out in his music lately. It seems like before, like he would let the music speak for itself and kind of out rap people and shit, but now it's like if you come at him, Chubbs
like he has to justify
trigger happy.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's funny. I think on the last song of the album, "Far From Home" or whatever that song, he talks about like for like a second, bro. Like I was actually like, oh wait, did he actually touch on all this? Like he's like, I wasn't a gangster then, but I am now, and that's it. And I'm like, bro, no, elaborate. Why are you this way?
Right. Yeah. And he's talking about, walking around the house with a Glocky and all kinds of stuff. And I get it. Maybe he is, because shit, if I was paranoid and in a big ass house by myself, yeah, like I might walk around with a gun. Who knows? But it's very clear that he thinks he is gangster now, because I think he messaged Joe Budden and said, like, how we get down, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, damn, you're really going to take it to that route? Like,
yeah. That's wild, bro. When you're worth $1 billion, bro. Like that's right. Yeah, for sure. Dude, shout out to them, Joe Budden Network. Dude, like I really was looking, they're so fucking smart, bro. Like I was really looking forward to that episode, and they were like, oh, Patreon. I'm like, yo, Patreon, fuck you, bro.
Yeah. No, like, and then you just realize like how everything that takes place is just like a business move.
100%, dog. Like 1000%, bro. Like, because the moment again, he wanted that shit. 100%, dude. Like, dude, the moment that Drake got petty, that's when the narrative around the album started changing, and then people were like, "Oh, there's no way it's that bad. Let's just listen to it again," kind of a thing. So, yeah, man, it's all a business thing. No one's really beefing with anyone, but yeah, I think my own judgment, like you say, like I was a little bit cloudy because the timing, it wasn't what we expected. Even though I don't really know what I expected, but it wasn't this. But then you're like, is it really that bad? Kind of a thing, right? And then it's also like, bro, at the end of the day, we still got Drake songs. Right? And then that was like my justification. I was like, bro, like, all right, man, this is an average Drake song that's still better than literally nothing, everything else that's coming out, because we're not getting dick from anyone, you know what I mean? So, pause. But, but yeah, it was just like, that's like the mindset I had. I was like, bro, is this still like Drake records that, dude, even like, think about like when I sent you, Do Not Disturb from the playlist Drake dropped, the More Life playlist, right? Like, dude, that song was like a throwaway track, or no one really spoke about it for like 2 to 3 years after that album dropped. And then like 4 or 5 years later, people are like, oh, dude, it's fucking a sleeper. So this album has the potential to have a couple of those, but I still stand by this statement as far as like, I do think it's one of his worst albums. You're just ranking all the Drake projects.
For sure. I'd agree. And I think that's why from this point forward, I'm gonna kind of treat his music like how I have been treating it for a lot of time, is like a buffet where I just handpick what I like. Yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm not gonna expect a quote unquote experience like Mr. Morale, because even something like that, I can't lie, I don't listen to a lot of those songs anymore, but like I appreciate the experience of listening to from front to back and like remembering that moment. Whereas these kind of projects are just like, I'm rich, I got girl problems, but here's like 4 bangers.
Yeah, dude, but I also feel like there's also again, I'm sure when all the like this might already be out, but when all like the math and the money of this shit, like the albums being this size come out, like we'll understand more in the future. But bro, it's also so hard for us to like consume this shit. Like even like the Kendrick album is a great example, bro. Like that was like 20 something songs too.
Yeah, that was long too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So even like a great album like that I think it's undeniably, we all loved it. You know, we all said, hey, I mean, I probably can't, blast this in my speakers, but I appreciate what he's trying to do here with the therapist and blah, 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 blah. Bro, so even a great album like that, bro, 20 something tracks. It's like, bro, how do you want me to consume this, bro? Like, I'm not watching fucking the Avengers Endgames every fucking day. That shit's fucking 5 hours long, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a very interesting time where it's like, bro, no one's making that perfect, cohesive, like 14 track album anymore. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, I curated song 1 to make sense through song 14. Here you go. Now it's just like, here's everything. And, I think they know that people are doing that. They're picking and choosing what they want to add to their playlist and then just fucking replaying those songs.
Yeah. But I think Kendrick didn't get as much flack because he was gone for so long. So it's like, all right, worst case scenario, we just don't listen to the extra 8 songs that may or may not should have been on the album. But with Drake, it's like we heard you all year, this year, last year, the year before that. Like, was the 23 or however many necessary?
Yeah. What's really missing? Like, what do you think you didn't tell us, bro? Because I have a list of stuff you did it, and it's not here on this album. But right. So then, so on that note, though, again, regardless of what we think of him and where we don't, he did tie Michael Jackson for the most number ones in the top 10 on Billboard. I don't know if it's all time, bro, or as an individual, because I feel like the Beatles still have that record, no?
They must. Well, I see Drake ties Michael Jackson for the 4th most number 1 singles in history.
That's
so,
nice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Michael.
Yeah.
All right. So still, that's still pretty. Michael. Dude, that's insane, right? Because Michael's numbers were insane at a time where it was completely different. So, your thoughts on the actual, him achieving that? So the actual achievement, and then your thoughts on trying to compare the two.
On the achievement itself, like no matter what way you spin it, whether that's bundles or, using TikTok and all that stuff, I think it's an accomplishment that is extremely difficult regardless. So Drake should be proud and continue to talk his talk, but I feel like it's still definitely not apples to apples because, for instance, this Yeet song is number 1, but I've only seen people making fun of the song and Drake's part, being like zesty or whatever or sus. And that's not to say people don't actually like the song, but obviously that's going to be driving a lot of the streams and, spark curiosity and all kinds of stuff. I just feel like it's super nuanced because people are going to listen to the song for a variety of reasons, sometimes even accidental. Like I might have a house party and just throw on the popular Spotify rap playlist and the song gets played and I couldn't completely ignore it. So I think has to be taken into consideration if we're going to imply that Drake is as good or better than Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I would agree with that, man. It's tough, dude, because it's definitely not apples to apples, bro. Because I also have this conundrum where I don't know which is the better indicator of like who's really driving this, right? So like, let's say back in the day, right? Like singles, right? Not album sales, but singles back in the day, from what I remember, was driven by radio play, right? And was it really like, they may want to make us think, but it wasn't fucking consumers calling in like, yo, can you please keep playing Michael Jackson over and over again, right? It's the radio stations knowing a certain artist is the shit, right? You got to play his music to get an ad play. These massive record labels at the time, to our point before, like they're going to invest in certain artists because they know they're like a cannot miss kind of a thing. So like, if that was being pushed by radio play, is that better or worse than streams that, yes, although it may be for, stupid snippets on IG stories, but for the most part, it's people actually listening to it over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it's tough because I don't know which one is really a true indicator of like singles being popular, right? Like albums is different. Albums, you go buy it, you're trying to purchase it, right? I don't know like singles back in the day. I know we used to buy singles, but bro, there's no way we were buying fucking 14 million CDs of one song. You know what I mean? I feel like the majority of it was radio play. And I feel like even that was a little like convoluted as far as like what was accurate back in the day, bro. Because there's tons of stories of record labels paying fucking DJs like, bro, you're only gonna play this song and that's nothing else. You know what I mean? So it's tough, which is like, again, naturally I'm always like, yeah, dude, MJ's the best. There's no comparison, blah, blah, blah. The impact, blah, blah, blah. But it's tough, man, because I also don't know the numbers back in the day were also the most accurate of how like hot a song was.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I'm not entirely sure what factored into the hits back in the day. Obviously, like marketing and stuff was a huge element, but to your point on impact, and I think we talked about it, several episodes back when this comparison was being made. Like, I think MJ was just on such a different level and hands down one of the most famous people in history to the point where you could like go to some rural area of like Vietnam or something.
Yeah.
And people most likely will be familiar with him. People are passing out XYZ. And I saw a couple of videos of Drake like walking in a restaurant and like, yeah, some people were taking pictures, but in my head, I'm like, if MJ did this shit, like there's no way he would be able to do
there's no way
anything.
He could. Yeah, there's no way he could, bro. There'd be a fucking, literally like a fucking like a riot police coming through like within an hour.
Yeah. And I don't know like how MJ was able to accomplish that more than anyone else. Granted, he was like kind of like Bow Wow. If Bow Wow became what Drake is now, I guess, maybe he would be the like a new age MJ just from having a 40-year career or whatever it was for Michael Jackson.
Oh, you sure it's like from like the Jackson 5 till when he became like just himself? Yeah.
Like I'm just imagining if Drake was who he is, but he was as successful as Bow Wow was as a kid, and then somehow managed to maintain that till 40 years old.
So are we not counting his Degrassi success?
I'm personally not, just because I didn't even know. But the crazy thing is I know a lot of people like know him from that show and love this show.
Yeah, dude, like
my
fiance, the first time she ever heard of Drake was from Degrassi. Like I've never even heard of, I mean, I grew up in India, obviously, but I never even knew what the fuck Degrassi was. So no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No, but it's a great achievement. Good for him. You can't take it away from him, right? Because I feel like at some point also like you just have to play by the rules of the game that's currently being played today, right? And he's playing it to the best of his, than anyone else. I think there is something to say though, man. And I think someone else said this, so if I'm, shout out to whoever says before me, but like, it's also a weird feeling, bro, when he's going to end up with what, like 9 or 8 of the top 10 songs, but like 8 of them are going to just fucking completely fall off a map within a week. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's also the weird part about like today's charting, right? Like the real hits are the ones who like you keep seeing them week after week after week after week. Like these are what makes it, like what makes me even pause to even say they're on the same place. It's like, bro, like, will it be there next week, bro? Kind of a thing.
Right.
Like that's, again, first person shooter is good enough a song to do that. But I'm saying in a general, right? Like Slime You Out with
5
SZA.
years from now.
Right. But Slime You Out to go from number 1 week to not even the top 20, 25 the next week, it kind of shows you that, dude, this was it really the number 1 song in the country, or was it just number 1 stream song that week? And there was, because again, like Michael Jackson's top 10 hits or whatever it is, the 14 hits, like, bro, you can play all those songs and we can all agree, bangers, bro. I feel like with Drake, we could maybe pull 2 or 3. We're like, all right, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And that's a good point. I think it really depends on what Drake wants, because if he's playing the game to where he just, charts and hits all these milestones and like he just wants to on paper be the biggest artist, then sure, like he's on the right path. But if he wants to make the top 10 best hip hop albums of all time conversation, then I don't think you can really play the game and be in those like hip hop purist type conversations at the same time, because most people would immediately say that like Kanye has several classic albums, whereas with Drake people are struggling to fucking debate if he has one. And
dude, which is crazy.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because he has a billion hits, but in terms of albums that people regard as like, oh, this is undeniably the best one of the best hip hop projects on planet Earth, like people are still struggling to have an objective view. Bro,
because I can tell you as someone who loves fucking Nothing Was the Same, when I first heard that, I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is this, bro? What is this Wu-Tang song? Has nothing to do with Wu-Tang. Like a couple other songs. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, what is he trying on this? And then after a year, I'm like, bro, undeniable. Fucking great album. Front to back, I'll still bump that shit now. So, yeah, there's just something, I don't know what it is, but there's something about him, bro. Because now if we're thinking back to those previous albums, like back in the day, who today everyone says Take Care is a great album, right? I think people agree that his official first album, what was it? It wasn't Take Care. It was
Thank You Later.
Thank You Later. Trash. Not trash, but not up to like what we expected from him with the run leading up to it, right? Even he said, man, I had too many features. I got too excited, blah, blah, blah. But bro, Take Care, So Far Gone, bro, like those albums are so well regarded amongst hip hop purists, right? Or music aficionados. And for us, I'm telling you, when those albums first came out though, I don't think we said that, bro. We were like, bro, why is he singing so much? What's he doing? He's child. Like, I think we were saying the same thing now, bro. So it's a little bit, it's so funny how like he doesn't have like an undeniable, bro, this is it. Regardless of like perspective, right? Because even I think back to like, I love this. I mean, I'm not fucking unique. Everyone loves the So Far Gone album, right? The mixtape. But bro, I loved it because I kept hearing people talk about it before I even got my hands on it. So by the time I got my hands on it, I was like, oh, this has to be the greatest shit. I'm enjoying it, but everyone is also telling me it's a phenomenal record. So it's just, I don't think there's ever been a first time where, I mean, tell me you felt this way, like you hear it, no one tells you anything about it. You hear it yourself and you're like, undeniable. It's always like, no, I mean, I see what he's trying to do, but I don't get it yet, kind of a thing, right? And that's weird for a guy that we're all saying is the GOAT or top 5 of all time, kind of a thing. I feel like Jay-Z, Kendrick, J. Cole, Pac, Biggie, Mac Miller, to me, blah, blah, blah. Like, the albums, you hear it and you're just like, bro, I fucking love this album. And you're not going to convince me why I should or shouldn't like it. Whereas with him, for whatever fucking reason, bro, we can't say that from like cover to cover or like track one to track, whatever. Like, it's so odd, bro.
I feel like he's just unique in that, like he's so focused on different moments, like whether it's a diss or like those timestamp songs or a single that happens to blow up. I feel like all these little moments overshadow everything else. And then when the body of work comes out, we're kind of disappointed because the best moments we've already heard. And then everything else just feels like filler shit. But like when he does like a crazy feature on some song, then that's all we talk about for like 2 months. And then he disappears. And then he'll release a single. And then they'll have a music video like the one with Dirk. He'll have all these massive moments. But then when the project comes out, it's like, all right, what's new? Like we've already the best shit on here we've already heard. And then everything else is just like meh. So I think it's almost like we have an attention deficit with him where we like him in small doses.
Yeah, dude, it has to be that, bro. Yeah, because the fact that you made me think about like previous albums, like my gut reaction, dude, I'm telling you, no one can tell me otherwise, dude. Nothing was the same was like an average ass album when I first heard that shit. I was like, bro, the fuck is this, bro? This is Wu-Tang. I tell you, the Wu-Tang song hurt me the most. I'm like, bro, what?
I love that song.
Dude, I love that song. But like, there was just like things where like the lead up to it, right? And you saw that title, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna have Method Man on the fucking hook. It's gonna be a fucking, and it's like, this is a love song?
And everything
bro,
is the same.
What?
No, I feel you on that.
But again, dude, shout out to him. It's a great achievement. He's doing big things. Before we move off on the Drake subject, recently, I think DJ Vlad, right? Was it Vlad?
Yep, DJ Vlad.
Brought up in an interview that he feels that because of Drake's status as the most popular Jewish man in the world, that he should be speaking up, as well as DJ Khlaled, one of the most famous Palestinians in the world, about the events that are going on in Hamas, Israel, and the Palestine region. So your thoughts on Vlad saying that, and then do you think these guys should be saying something in the midst of all the craziness happening this last couple of weeks?
I mean, I get Vlad's frustration, especially if you think you're seeing these artists speak out on completely trivial, insignificant stuff like Drake beefing with Joe Budden, while Palestinians and Israelis are being slaughtered. Like, I understand that perspective, but I think we need to, just like Kendrick said, like, these rappers are not your saviors. So unless they feel compelled to speak on it, I really do not want to hear some uneducated, inauthentic take just because they have influence and money. Like Cardi B speaking of Biden was like one of the dumbest, like, curated things I've ever seen. And it's just because they're trying to influence the youth. I get it, but I think we need to stop reaching out to people who know absolutely nothing about these causes to just say some shit and build awareness. And I think that they're using the risk of losing money in business and partnerships as an excuse for why they're not doing it. But some people just don't want to mix that with their art and career, because there's no like perfect way to approach it. It's just like not worth the effort.
There's no
sometimes.
PR class you can go to that means you're like, it's not gonna, you're gonna offend someone, and also just may sound stupid and like really just make people look at you in a certain way. But dude, it's tough, man, because like I think about this comedy special that Chappelle had back in the day. He made a comment about 9/11 on TRL. I think I said this before, and then on TRL, Carson Daly like cuts to like, we have Ja Rule on the phone and he wants to share his opinion on the, and it's like, who gives a fuck about what Ja Rule has to say about this? Like, he's a New Yorker, terrorist attacks in New York. It's like, bro, no one gives a fuck what Ja Rule has to say on this. And again, it's not the same thing, obviously, but bro, like, I don't see what the upside is here, right? Like, what is Drake or Khlaled gonna say that's gonna make you be like, oh, they get it? You know what I mean? Like, someone's gonna be offended. Right? And then, dude, what if they literally don't know what the fuck is happening? Bro, what if they are that oblivious, right? What if they are in their own little bubble and don't have the facts, right? They're all confused the same way we're confused. And it's like, bro, like, I have enough friends and people I love on both sides. Bro, I'm not getting involved in this shit. You know what I mean? Like, let me know who I can help, bro. Like, if there is a mission that is sending food and clothing and helping people out, I'm all for that on both sides. But as far as me to tell you what's right or what's wrong over a situation I literally am not informed enough about, I feel uncomfortable trying to understand more, because now I'm questioning like my own like previous, understandings of it. It's like, bro, like, I'm good, dude. So I can even imagine these guys at obviously a gazillion higher level saying like, bro, like, nah, man, I'm Jewish. I love my Jewish people, but there's no need for me to make comment about this. Like, I don't know enough, right? Like, anyway, kudos to people who do, because I know you sent me a thing and I saw a couple more things of Kalani standing up for Palestinian rights. It's so funny, bro, because not funny, but how a week ago, I then saw you offline, like, if you weren't supporting Israel, you are insane. And now it's like, bro, if you are not supporting Palestine, you are a fucking moron. I'm like, bro, like,
colonizer, name it.
It's so wild, bro. So, dude, again, if you and I are confused as like young 30-year-old men, like, dude, dude, obviously, who have like corporate jobs and we're afraid of saying the right or wrong thing to fucking not get fired or not to offend an acquaintance from fucking the 9th floor. Imagine these guys who have millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line, on top of like, bro, I also don't know, so I'm not a politician. Like, who gives a fuck? Kind of a thing.
Right. And who's to say Drake isn't, or Khlaled, either of them aren't donating behind the scenes or doing things behind the scenes? Like, they very well could be. And like you said, I don't think there's a whole lot they can do except piss off one side over the other, or maybe even piss off everybody. But yeah, I'm not excited about the idea of encouraging celebrities who have nothing to do with really important issues and forcing them to say something that is potentially going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, dude, especially because I think we were talking about this a couple episodes ago, like thinking about like the Black Lives Matter movement, COVID. Like, that whole time, bro, that whole time of us being like isolated at home and like everyone was speaking about everything, bro. Like, everyone had an opinion.
Yeah.
Bro, in hindsight, kind of cringy, right? Kind of like, bro, why do I care that this D-list fucking actress is telling me I should wear a fucking mask? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like, just because, again, dude, we love music, so we have a hobby that you and I sit down together for an hour and a half every week for 3 years to do this, right? But
Yeah.
I can understand if someone's like, bro, I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Cool. You know what I mean? So like, but now that we're saying, hey, you have a platform, you have to say something. Dude, I don't think they have to say anything, dog. Like, I don't think they owe us that, bro. Like, they owe to make us good content of whatever the fuck they produce. Like, I feel like that's the arrangement here. You know what I mean? Like, you now giving me a hit, and now I have to go to you for vaccine updates. Do not fucking matter in my life, right? So I think the same thing should apply to this, bro. It's like, dude, I don't go to Drake for his political views on what Israel should or shouldn't be doing in the Middle East. Like, dude, like, this guy's like, why, bro? Like,
right.
At no point.
And he's never been that type of person.
Correct, bro. Like, if I'm gonna go to him with advice, it's like, yo, how can I pull an Israeli chick, bro? Like, what do you do to talk to them? But as far as like this is. Why would I ever go to him for anything besides like stuff like that, bro? This guy's never spoken about any political matters at all. So, I'm not saying I support it, but I understand why him and other artists and whatever people from that platform are just like staying quiet. It's like, bro, like, we've seen the results of being public about this shit. You can do all this shit in private, bro. The same way all of us do shit in private. I don't understand the need to just say, oh, dude, hey, post a flag or post this other flag. You're doing a great thing. It's like, no, you're not, bro. That's like, it's usually like I think you said it before, like, it usually just stops there. Like, you just did it to appease other people, and you're not going to do anything to actually help the people that are being impacted by this. What the fuck's the point?
Right. And I myself, I'm pretty cynical, so I won't even go as far to like promote certain organizations or post hashtags, just because I know inevitably there might be a situation where it backfires, like kind of like the defund the police thing. Like, I'd never posted that once because I was like, I don't know what consequences defunding the police might have, so I'm not going to just blindly say some shit because it sounds cool. And then of course people are blaming all the crime and stuff on police being defunded. So, and I don't even know if that shit's true, but
correct.
Kudos to them for not bowing down to, people trying to force them to say something online just to pretend to be educated on the subject.
Correct. You could just not say anything, bro. I think J. Cole and Kendrick showed us that, and like your fans and people who actually tune into you aren't going to care. So yeah, shout out to them. What's another one we can do? All right, man. So speaking of, so we spoke about Drake. Obviously, we had indifferences about the album, but we were grateful to have new content. We are also a week after we got a new Offset album, which I think was fine, right? We love Offset. We appreciate good music, but I don't think there was anything like stand out. I know a lot of people were excited about or enjoyed the Travis Scott song. So kudos to him for having, just the people's ears right now. Bad Bunny dropped the 22, 23 song album as well, just like Drake. Just so you know, like, it's a lot of trap music. So I don't even know if I'm like a Bad Bunny fan. I enjoy his music, but I didn't enjoy this album that much because it's like really rapping, right? When people get mad at Drake for singing too much, it's like the opposite. It's like, bro, like, you just gave us a classic singing trap album. Now this is all trap. So whatever. So week after we do get new music. You alluded to this at the end of last episode. So I kind of want to circle it back, that kind of like the impact that we're seeing from so many artists in the last, or rappers, better said, in the last 5 to 6 years no longer being here because they've been murdered, passed away because of drug-related things, etc. Like, the impact that's happening to the ecosystem of the entire music industry. So, like, I feel like just take a deep dive a little bit, more into it and just see, like, what other thoughts can come from it, right? So when you think of we already said that, like, think of a Pop Smoke, right? Pop Smoke being here, right, in the ecosystem of what music is. How do you think that would have affected and changed things in 2023?
I think in terms of Pop Smoke's case, I mean, drill music is still, obviously a popular trend, more so than other like sub-genres of rap.
It could be another artist, and I just brought him up because the Gotti song was in my head. Yeah. But like, what other any other artists you think about?
in terms of the ones who I think would have had a much bigger impact and kind of close the gap this year, I think Nipsey for sure. Um, he just seems like someone who constantly wanted to elevate and put out quality music. And fortunately, his music was different enough to where you wouldn't be like, all right, well, if he doesn't drop, then I can go to like these 4 or 5 artists. Like,
Yeah,
I think in terms of LA rappers, YG's the closest, and YG typically makes more clubby, like gangster music, whereas party songs. I think Nipsey's more on like kind of like the Rick Ross type of
it was like LA's Rick Ross is how like I interpreted him.
Yeah. I think Rick Ross even wanted to sign him at one point. But yeah, I think Nipsey stands out. I believe you call that Juice WRLD. I think we've kind of toned down the emo rap since like for the past few years. I feel like it hasn't been quite as popular as it once was. So I think he would have been an interesting one to close the gap. I know they've released released some of his unreleased stuff over the past couple years, but it just didn't hit the same because
not at all. Not at all.
There just wasn't really much context, and you just felt like he was being dumped on you.
Yeah.
XXX Tentacion for sure. I think he's more of like the unknown for me because he could have gone in so many different directions. I'm really curious to see where he would have been at this point, but I feel like he's one of the missing links that really comes to mind as well.
Yeah, because he was the head of that. Because again, Juice WRLD was more like the emo R&B singer, right? Obviously, it's still rap, right? Because we all consider him like a freestyler and talented, but the way it was being delivered was more like in a sing-song kind of way. Whereas with XX, it was more like the emo rap, like, but like sad, but like aggressive at the same time. You're like, I don't know what this is, but I fucking like kind of love it in a weird way. So yeah, but whatever he was doing caught attention, bro. Like this guy went #1, and you're like, how? You know what I mean? And you're like, bro, this guy has a massive support behind him, bro. Like his community is insane. And then he had fucking Kendrick posting his album. You're like, oh, what's going on? So yeah, it's very curious how like that would play in 2023, bro. And then yeah, dude, Mac Miller, man, like, dude, for him to pass away with Swimming, right? A critically acclaimed album. You know, dude, think about it, dude. We got Mac Miller, 2 of the albums that were nominated that year in 2018 or 2019, Mac Miller, Nipsey aren't even here anymore, right? So we're saying critically acclaimed artists who were being considered the best in their genre, in their space, are gone, right? That has to have like a trickle-down effect. Because like, again, I feel like the Grammys are what up-and-coming artists perceive as the standard, right? So if you're seeing these guys as the benchmark, you're only going to be inspired to do more, right? And it's just like sad that was removed, right? Because now it's like, yeah, it's easy to say, oh, the Grammys don't matter now. But yeah, dude, but like, who's being nominated? You know what I mean? It's like, it almost feels like whatever's left over kind of a thing, as opposed to the cream of the crop that, you know, rises to the top. I think it's just like, it's like you're left. So yeah, you're going to get a nomination kind of a thing, right? I think about it, even when Tyler won the second rap album of the year, it was like, all right, kind of a thing. Whereas like, bro, it's just like, who else? If Drake didn't drop that year, or Travis, like, who are you competing with, kind of a thing?
Right. No, that's a good way to put it. Because that's kind of the climate we're in now. We're pretty confident who's going to win the Grammys this coming year. It's probably gonna be Travis with the album, and then Gunna with like best song or something.
Right. Yeah. 100%. I still stand by that.
There's no one else.
There's no one else. There's no one else, dude. I mean, maybe first if this Drake J. Cole song keeps doing numbers, maybe. But again, I think Gunna's song was like a moment, bro. Like, so yeah. But yeah, dude, it's just like, it's wild, bro. Because yeah, like we've been complaining nonstop, right? And I think not just us, our listeners, our viewers, the entire ecosystem of hip hop about like the last 2 years, like, bro, where's the fucking music coming from, bro? And it's just like, yeah, dude, you don't think about these guys just not being here anymore, right? And like these guys maybe even like inspiring the other guys, right? Like maybe Lil Baby was inspired by some of these people, and like now he's just like not inspired enough to create or whatever. Like, Yeah, the trickle down effect of this shit, like in the moment we're like, oh bro, another rapper dead. And you're like, bro, another rapper dead means you're not getting quality content. Obviously, first and foremost, rest in peace to them. And I hate that their family and friends are suffering. But as a consumer, like you don't in the moment think about, oh wow, dude, I'm not gonna be getting a quality album or songs month in, year in anymore. Like that itself is like, yeah, dude, it's gonna make our fucking phones, our playlists look the way they look now, where we're just fucking looking for old shit over and over again, as opposed to like being excited for one of these guys to drop in these in-between months where Travis and Drake drop.
Right. And it's wild too, because it feels like I know we are less keen to go to like a Rolling Loud because we're getting older and don't want to be around these young rowdy ass kids anymore. But at the same time, I feel like that aside, the roster just gets less and less interesting, regardless of if we've seen them before. Like it doesn't feel like there's budding superstars. It's just kind of the same like 4 or 5 names at every festival, and they're making the same music. And it just so happens that a lot of the people that we lost happen to be the ones that made music that was different enough to give us kind of a fresh mix of hip hop to listen to. Whereas now it's just like everyone on top is making kind of like generic, trap music, and it hasn't really changed very much over the past few years.
Yeah, dude, honestly, that also might be a reason that some of these younger kids are so attracted from a musical standpoint to like a Playboi Carti and a Uzi Vert, right? Whereas like you and I are like, all right, bro, like I liked you when you first came out, but I'm not really getting this shit. But like, dude, maybe they're like, bro, like I could just do my own thing and people are just gonna be excited because it's different, kind of a thing, as opposed to I can go and sound like, another Little Baby album or DaBaby or whoever that it's fine, but like no one's really checking for it a week after the album drops because like, bro, it just sounds like everything else.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it seems like all the people Academics is posting on his page sound like literal clones of an artist that's already out. And I get it. Like it is a conundrum too, because you kind of have to play that game if you want to get on, at least very quickly. But at the same time, I think from like a longevity standpoint, we're not getting those artists that are like taking risks, really.
Yeah. And it sucks because the artists we're talking about, right? The Mac Miller, the Nipsey, the Pop, the Juice WRLD, PNB Rock. I mean, dude, we could even throw Tory Lanez in the mix too, just him not being around, right? Like the Young Thugs, right? These are guys who were at least a part of the industry as like the internet SoundCloud shit was taking off, right? So they still have the resemblance of what an artist needs to do to be put on like the right way, quote unquote. Whereas like now the new artists are just like, yo, let me get a TikTok banger, right? But that's not going to lead to longevity. It's going to lead to a moment pop in your streams and then it's over, kind of a thing, right? So it's also sad because like we no longer have that group of artists that even want to give us a quality album to consume anymore, right? Because these new artists don't even care that we want that shit. Like at least these guys maybe had a decision to make, like, hey, I'm used to this, but this is what's popping now. Like all these new artists know is like, yo, make one single and just keep making singles, right? Dude, like, to be fair, bro, I love Central C, but bro, where the fuck is the Central C album, bro? Like you gave us 4 songs with Dave and that's it, bro. Like where's the rest? And dude, he probably has zero desire to give us an album, bro. He's like, bro, I'm fucking the hottest thing out. If anything, an album might just hurt me. Let me just keep giving you 1 to 2 moments that you like to talk about, and that's it. So yeah, it's just sad that I don't even think the future generations are even gonna know what we felt when an album dropped and we just fucking wanted to consume it and understand it. Like, bro, I don't even think that's gonna happen anymore, bro.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It doesn't really make sense for most people. I think our boy Wes, who we interviewed, mentioned that he was focusing on singles as well. And not every artist is meant to necessarily have come out with the album, because I think it has to have a concept and feel cohesive and stuff. And some people just aren't in that creative mindset to want to sit down and create this experience. Maybe they just want to make really good, feel good music and release it as time goes by, piece by piece. But
yeah.
I think
just
that we're incentivized now to not do that shit.
Correct, right? We're just, maybe things change, right? Because things might, not saying go back to the way things were, but there might be a medium where like people are encouraged to put out albums the way they were before, right? Depending on like what Billboard does as far as, giving credits towards the album plays. But yeah, man, definitely interesting time. Yeah. Rest in peace to all those artists that we lost. Obviously, their impacts are being felt. Well, them not being here is being felt by their family and friends, but I think also the consumers. We also lost something. I think at the time they just felt like sad, and it felt like, oh man, he was so young. But it's like, oh wow, like this means we're not going to get content ever again. And I feel that part is just like kind of registering right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope that's like the last time we have to deal with it, but definitely feeling it this year in particular. It feels like we have this conversation every year, like just everyone within the hip hop space, but I feel like this year in particular.
No, this is different, bro. I think because it's not just you and I being snobs. I think this is like almost like the masses are realizing, this is odd, bro. Like this is a very weird year in hip hop. We shouldn't be talking about 2 albums or 3 albums in a year, and it's fucking almost November in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like that's strange. So yeah. But again, it is what it is. Hopefully Blair Anthony bless us with a project in 2024. It changes everything, bro. So knock on wood. Anything else you want to get into, bro? Or do you want to do some Heat of the Week?
Let's do Heat of the Week.
All right, bro. Heat of the Week, episode 156. About to get out of here, my guy. What was the one song that did it for you this weekend?
I had a couple, but I'm going to try something new this time. So this artist, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Spotify has this cool new feature called Smart Shuffle. And basically, when you're listening to your own playlist, if you turn on Smart Shuffle, every 3 or 4 songs, it'll throw in a new song that you haven't heard before.
Oh, that's sick.
So yeah, it's dope because you already know that you like your own playlist, but every now and then it's like your friend taking the aux and being like, yo, check this out though.
Yeah, but it's still like connected to what you already. That's cool. That's very cool, actually.
Right. So it's dope. And I found a new song from an artist I was already familiar with, but I had never heard this song, and it's called Rolly by Cousin Stiz. In terms of the vibe of this song, I would say it's like it's kind of like a soulful J. Cole, Rick Ross song, but like more of a flex, not like inspirational, motivational type thing.
Got you. Well, the title made me think it was a flex. So.
Yeah. I guess that's a dead giveaway. So yeah, it's Rolly. I believe he's from Boston, but he has a very smooth, laid back vibe. I would say if someone likes Wiz Khalifa and Larry June and J. Cole, like that kind of music, you'll like this song. My brother Corey actually just said he's obsessed with it. So
nice.
I think it's a good listen. And he's also a dope artist if you ever want to check out some of his other stuff. Johan actually did a song with him.
Oh, dope. Yeah, send me that, dude. Send me that.
For sure.
I'll definitely beat that one. For me, I guess probably one song that actually made me enjoy the Bad Bunny album a little bit more than I thought I would. The song was with him and the female MC from Puerto Rico, Young Miko, Fina.
Nice.
Cool song, fun song. It's about. Did you hear the song yet?
No, I think I may have heard a snippet, or what? No, that was the Tiny song. Never mind. Tiny had a release with her as well, I think.
Yo, I think Tiny's deluxe version dropped. I haven't peeped it yet, but I'm pretty sure the deluxe version of the album dropped. I'll go check for that. Give a review next week. But the Fina song, it's like the La Mas Fina. So it's like they're both saying, because she's lesbian, they're both saying that the finest women are also like the most scandalous women and do like the nastiest shit. So just because they're hot, don't be intimidated because they'll still do some like nasty shit with you. So like it's just like a fun play on words because like sometimes like it's funny with him specifically because it's like, bro, like you literally are like, if not the biggest, the second biggest artist like in the world when it comes to music stuff. But when he does like the trap shit, like bro, some of the shit they say is like so like degrading, bro. Like it's just like Like it's like, oh, bro, like I love it, I love it, but it's also like it's kind of nasty, dog. Like, you know,
nasty in a good way. Like they're saying a girl who looks classy and fine might do some grimy shit, like in a sexual
like
good
some
way.
like sexually nasty, whatever you say, like spit in the mouth, like it's like they get into like such vivid detail. You're like, all right, bro. Like I get it. You know what I mean? Like
at first I thought you were talking about scandalous shit like stealing money or something.
No. Like the finest girls are the girls who do like the raunchiest shit in the bedroom. Like so it's just funny because what was that? Go ahead.
I just said I believe that.
No, I believe it too, but it's just like it's sometimes again, especially like his last album being almost like about like fun love songs and hints of it to being a full album, and like the first 3 songs are like the most aggressive version of that. You're like, oh, this is gonna be a different Bad Bunny. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. I gotta peep that one and pull out the Google Translate for that too.
How's your Spanish going? Side note.
I've been doing it on and off, but I kind of stopped when I was busy moving, just because it was way too busy. And even right now, like work is so busy. So I've been like studying it on the side, but haven't practiced with the tutor as much. But since we're going to Colombia in a month
and a half
ish, yeah, I'm definitely gonna like do a crash course like several weeks before, just so I feel confident out there.
Nice. Very nice. Awesome, my dude. Well, I appreciate it all. Good luck in LA and Seattle. Definitely be safe. Enjoy the scenes out there, though, man. And let the people know where they can find us, what we got going on. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Catch us at audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We also have the Spotify and Apple Music playlists on there as well. And if you're on YouTube, peep below, copy a hoodie, copy some merch. We got stickers and everything else as well. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, donate, do whatever you can to support the channel, and tune in next week.
Support, comment. We appreciate you. Love you, my dog. Peace.
Love you too.